From the body horror bowels of Japan comes the insane bloodbath of beauty that is 2008's Tokyo Gore Police. In a world of mutated maniacs and privatized police forces, one woman on a quest to find her father's killer must hack, slash, and dismember her way through a sea of scoundrels to obtain justice. How many police does it take to paint a precinct red? What happens when your box cutter just isn't cutting it? What would it look like if David Cronenberg owned a brothel? And how does one clean 1,000 gallons of gore off a gimp suit? I hope you guys have your keyholes ready, your virtual executioner visors on, and your amputated lapdogs fed, because we all just signed up to be Tokyo Gore Police.
Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise! Whoa. Oh, that's fantastic.
Fuck good. If what the actual fuck was a movie, out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Hello, you gore hounds and creepy club members, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chuddle the Pod, the horror movie club that takes a ridiculous look at the serious and schlocky world of horror films. My name is Ross, and I'm joined by my co-occupants of the pod, Brian and Sam.
Hey, sup? Oh, fuck.
Perfect. Today, we put our gore and goo-covered ponchos on as we discuss 2008's Tokyo Gore Police. But before that, we have to take a little detour before the gore. You can find Sam at Chuddle the Sam on Letterboxd for his eclectic movie picks. And if you want to chat with the Bry Guy, well, that's only going to happen in our Discord, so sign up and join the fun today.
Ooh.
There, we've got listeners, coven members, and past guests of the show, so scroll through our Discord channels and say hello.
Hey.
Yeah.
And last, but certainly not least, we have a Patreon. And we got to shout out our Coven of Witches. They decide our Patreon-picked movies each month and have their own exclusive Discord oasis to chat about the exclusive content we give them monthly. Yeah. Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank you for your beautiful souls.
Thank you, beautiful souls. Sam slurps them up.
Oh, just...
I drink your souls.
Well,
I drink your souls.
We drink our souls.
Sip
we
your
drink them
soul.
right up.
I sip your souls. I sip them up.
I sip it up.
Movies are made by people, and people made this movie. Who made this movie? Sometimes. Maybe it might be robots. Honestly, if you are joined in our Patreon, AI sometimes writes scripts, and sometimes we act those scripts out for our patrons.
I can't wait till AI can learn our voice, and then I'll just like
autopilot
this thing at one point. We don't have to do anything anymore.
Oh my god!
Dream.
Can't wait to not do anything.
just turns on the Chuddle switch, and all right, we'll just that ride for a little bit.
The Chuddle factory in full working order.
Yeah, I could never capture this. This is
exactly. It'd be so much better. It'd be too flawless. They'd know.
Yeah.
They'd know right away.
They know it's not the level of cheese I'm looking for right now. All right, so we got Tokyo Gore Police. This movie was directed by Yoshihiro Nishimura. It was also written by Kengo Kaji. Was it Maki Mizui? And also Yoshihiro Nishimura. Mm-hmm. Some of our key players of the film. We've got Ihi Shina as Ruka. Let's see here. We've also got Itsuji. Wait. See, this is.
You've been doing so well. I've been so proud of you. I'm like, damn. Apparently, he just needs.
Just really focused on these. Itsuji Yato as Keyman, and Yukihide Benny as the Tokyo Police Chief Officer. Now, for the sake of my own integrity, I am not going to try to do the rest of the cast, but I do encourage you to go on IMDb and look through the repertoire of the amazing actors and actresses of this film.
You hit on the big ones anyway. I don't know any of these people or any of I'm not familiar with the work of anybody else.
Ruka was in Audition. She was I believe the lead actress in Audition.
Oh, well then I am familiar. I saw Audition. I got it back when it came out on DVD, but It's been a long time.
Oh yeah. With a name like Tokyo Gore Police, this may just kind of be a no-brainer. But let's shift over to our Gorometer.
It's time for the Gorometer.
Fatality.
All right, so basically on a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is Tokyo Gore Police?
I'm going to 10. But
okay.
This movie taught me something. You kind of talked about it on
Slither.
Was it Slither where it was it brought it down some.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a 10, but it's an easy 10. Whereas
yes.
maybe Evil Dead's Rise is a medium 10 and Sadness is a hard 10. I don't know,
Yes.
But it is a 10, but it is like the tone and the look and everything about it. It's not like hard to watch the gore as compared to other 10s.
100%. Like this is a 10, but it feels like a 7 because the amount of ridiculous 10 gore that is through this movie. You know what I mean? Like it's so I'm not going to take the 10 away from it because it is
right.
So intense and so gory and so gooey the whole movie. But I think there's no lulls in the goo and gore in this movie. So like it's just a main 10 the entire time. So I don't think it's as shocking as other 10 gore films are.
Right. I mean, the consistency and intensity, both 5s gets a 10 for sure. But like I think like as we keep saying to the point of that the ridiculous factor of it's, someone gets dismembered in a way and it's literally spraying like a hose blood out of it. So it adds this level that you're like, oh my God, here we got more blood.
Just
oh my God. Can we just like
a hose,
clean up a scene a little bit? I want to see something besides red for a second. To the level of like, that's how ridiculous it is. So it's like the gore is almost second to some of the stuff going on, but it's there. So like if you have any, because then there'll be scenes of more intense stuff and there's mutation, there's weird shit going on mixed in between like the ridiculous gore that it definitely earns that 10 for sure.
Oh yeah, I would 100%. Who is this horror for, gentlemen?
Action splatter fans. Because here's an interesting thing. I'm happy to call this horror because it is, but this is one of those like, is it horror movies?
Right.
In my opinion. But I would say yes, like in the same way you kind of pull all sorts of monster action movies into horror. I would say the same thing for this.
Yeah.
I think the gore would be one thing. I think the level of body horror with the engineers pulls it more horror for me than like action. You know what I mean? But it's that weird like on the fence thing where it's like it is.
But I mean, there's no like scary moments. It's not a scary.
There's scenes of horrific nature that tend to be what you get in it's like body horror mixed with a creature film mixed with action, with heavy action. So if you like anime, you're gonna love this movie because it just feels like
it felt like it was based on a manga
anime.
for sure.
Yeah,
like
this is
I felt like
anime.
I saw like I've seen the shots of blood in like anime depicted in those same exact way of the way the blood is poured out. So it just felt very much like that to me. And that's why I also kind of like, it's that easy 10 on the Gorometer as well. It felt very anime in that sense. So, and in anime, like you look at a lot of animes out there, especially ones that people call like a horror anime. They're not always necessarily a scary type of thing, but it delves into
like
monsters, vampires, that type of stuff with this high action, high gore, blood type of thing. So that's where we get into that
high
world.
octane.
Yeah, I think it totally counts.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it not for?
A lot of people.
A lot.
There's a lot of things.
It's even gore aside, the stylization of it. Like you could love gore and be a gore hound and still not be able to get into this movie because of how highly stylized it is. It almost reminds me of I can't think of the name of these types of shows, but it's like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, whatever. Like there's a whole
kaiju
name. Yeah, not necessarily big things, but like the stylization of like looking like cheesy and sort of caustic, like the costumes look like costumes.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like a Japanese version of like a Japanese trauma movie. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's very self-apparent that it knows it's at a particular budget, and it really leans hard into that.
Right. And I think it's I've seen other stuff like it. I just don't know the name for that type of stylization.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. It is. I mean, like you've got, I mean, God, there's self-harm.
To me, that's the hardest part to watch.
It's there's a lot of alludes to self-harm in this one. There's, I think, violence to animals. There is it's just gore. It's a gore gorge full of the most inappropriate things you could possibly think of mixed in and then caked on top is mostly.
Yeah, there's certainly enough gore that it's like for people who like gore and not for people who do not like gore.
Yes. Like this is a this is not a first timers.
Oh, this is not a beginner movie.
No,
sure.
Not even close.
It's not a beginner. I think it's probably a better hang movie than it is an individual movie. I've watched it twice to myself, and I think I would have had a much better. Not that I had a bad time, but I think I would have had a much better time in a group setting.
Oh, 100%. It kind of segues into like I picked this movie and why I picked it in my history with it, but it goes hand in hand because this was like a hangout party movie that would be on most times. Like when I first got introduced to Tokyo Gore Police. Like this was in the same vein of like Machine Girl and like a bunch of these just insane Japanese movies that were just ultra violent. This was but the whole reason I bought this movie was to have it at to watch it with groups because
I'm pretty sure I had seen this before, but like at a party at 1 a.m. where I was very intoxicated and like did not remember it.
Yeah,
because there's things I was like, wait, have I seen this? I don't know, like.
You don't start the evening with Tokyo Gore Police. In most cases, you'll finish the evening with Tokyo Gore Police. Alrighty, guys. It's spoiler time.
Spoiler zone.
But first, a quick synopsis. In future Tokyo, a young woman in the privatized police force tracks down her father's killer while battling against mutant rebels known as engineers. That's directly from IMDb. I figured that, like, out of all the descriptions, I figured that was the most on the money and the most ambiguous.
Mm-hmm. Sure. It works.
Because this movie is all over the place. Like, I find it funny that, like, has slim a synopsis of this movie versus what's actually in this movie.
And that is exactly what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, very, very, very true. So we get into a little bit of behind the scenes. So we've got this was shot and completed in just under 2 weeks from everything that I've read.
Oh my God.
Which is insane to me.
Yeah.
And Yoshihiro actually came up with the entire sequence of the brothel scene was an idea that popped in his head after going to like multiple go-go bars in Thailand. Like he saw all the ridiculous stuff in Thailand and he was like, oh, this can totally be a part of the movie.
Mutant ladies.
Okay.
Right. So apparently Yoshihiro was working on the special effects for Machine Girl when he was asked by Media Blasters if he wanted to do another film. And he decided to go for Tokyo Gore Police because it's a remake of an independent film that he made before called Anatomia Extinction, which was in like 1995. This is actually Yoshihiro's first commercial film to date. So this is his
first movie.
Yeah, which completely makes actually now that I know that a special effects guy made this movie, this makes so much more sense.
Oh yeah, it's definitely it feels like a special effects guy movie.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna jump into our first 6 questions.
First 6.
Bazooka battle beginnings. I said beginnings for real weird on that one.
Oh, doesn't sound weird to me.
Beginnings.
All right, so in this section, we are going through our scenes, lines, characters, scares, kills, all that fun stuff, all meshed into one chimera of a thing. We can just start talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
start at the beginning. I'm happy
I was about to
start
say that's a great place to start. Let's start at the beginning. Let's work our way through this here.
Oh my God!
So it's the rooftop battle with the police, and Ruka comes, and it's some criminal who
had tortured and dismembered and was eating and barbecuing a woman on a rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As one would.
Yeah, as you would. I like the fact that you can distinguish who the baddies are in this movie, generally speaking, by the really insane, raggedy, long hair that's like down past their nipples. Like half of the characters that are bad guys, the engineers, just have this scraggly, like homeless, like
Mm-hmm.
the second you see them.
That's the only way to be a bad guy.
And
especially
they all look
because-
very anime. Like it's
Yes.
just like hyper stylized, and yeah, it just sets the tone very clearly right away for sure. And
Yeah.
then
So the
It's
guy's
a-
arm gets cut off and
Yeah.
a chainsaw
grows out of it.
it.
Also, like the look of the Tokyo police force in this, they are all dressed like samurai, but like biomech samurai. Like some of them have like red eyes and mask things, and like the head chief of police has like a almost like a 1920s style megaphone speaker thing addressed to like the bottom of the hilt of where like the samurai mask should come down. Like they're all super, like it's very stylized. Like everything is very stylized, but on a budget. They're balling on a budget, and it's clear. But they look pretty insane.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminded me of sort of a John Carpenter, Judge Dredd, almost maybe even like Fifth Element type of
Dystopian feeling.
Yeah,
But
Super
like-
near
fun.
future. Yeah,
Neo Tokyo dystopia type of thing
Mhm.
feeling
Yeah.
to it. You know, Akira again akin to a lot of
Totally.
the anime stuff.
Oh, wait, hold on. Even before this, before the cops get called on and all that other stuff, the beginning of this fucking movie is just this super nice, like, my dad was a police officer, and he was the nicest guy in the entire world. And then it just shows that dude's face, and then his head explodes.
Just like rips apart and explodes.
Like, it's
Because
like they
every
shove
scene
th-
has to
every
have
scene
gore.
is gore. Like,
we see that head explode in many different ways.
4 separate times in this movie. This is, I cannot stress enough that this movie starts with gore, and you are in a gore goo pit
Mm-hmm.
for the entire runtime. Like, it's like
Wounds
maybe
have a lot of little hoses and lots of spraying. Lots of Brian mentioned earlier, like it's so much red and spraying, like I can't see what's happening.
it's just
It's like happens a lot.
yeah.
in
There
this
are
movie.
actual scenes where the fucking blood hits the actual lens of the thing, and they just keep on filming. They just go
Mhm.
through it. I have to say though, the introduction of Ruka, first off, in the car, just hanging out while these cops start mercilessly getting killed, but then also hacking up the ever-loving shit out of her forearm with a fucking box cutter.
That was
I like
insane.
that.
Like, at first, it's like cutting.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
The way they
that
filmed it,
could have been a big warning that we didn't give up in the beginning, because that is very.
We said self-harm and then
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I don't
Oh, yeah,
know.
we
you
did.
had stepped
Yeah.
away.
Sorry.
but I have to really drive home the fact is that there is a massive amount of self-harm innuendo verbatim and advertised in commercials in this dystopian society, including like murder and a bunch of other stuff. Although
That's
we'll
not
get
self-harm.
that's true.
Murder's harm to other people.
Well, yeah.
Not
No, what
to
I'm saying, on
myself.
top
Don't kill
of that,
me, you're
on top-
only hurting yourself.
On top of that commercial, there's also ones for like actual murder and stuff like that. I do like, okay, so obviously she's just, and like the way they filmed her slashing up her fucking forearm is like, God, it's just like
I don't
she's
like
just
it.
burrowing into her.
It's brutal.
It's so brutal. It's so,
I mean, it
it's-
clearly
and
looks
we're-
fake, but it still feels very brutal and real.
Very
Yeah.
brutal. And we're only like a minute and 30 seconds into the runtime at this point.
Because
we
it
also
starts with
get-
too. Sorry, it starts with like her pulling her thing back, and it looks like you see the scar marks. You're like,
All the
okay,
scars,
she's
yeah,
a cutter. There's something going on here. Then it starts, and you're like, ugh, awkward, and then it just goes full force. Like,
Just
what is
Yeah,
hacking,
she's
happening?
like,
just
just-
like hacking at it.
Yeah.
It's like not someone just like
No,
like a
it's like
cutter who's cutting
she's
themselves,
be-
which is what you're expecting.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, this person, like she would have killed herself if it were what had
if
actually
it was real,
happened.
if anything
Yeah.
was real here.
Yeah, she's like
Yeah.
amputating her fucking arm in this movie. Although, okay, so then when they realize it's an engineer, because this guy now has a chainsaw arm, that has a chain attached to it. So he goes through and decapitates.
I was just going to say it's mutated and goopy and grown into his arm and sort of this biomech thing.
Every engineer Cronenberg's themselves. And it's either like super fleshy pink or like flesh tone, or it's like muscle sinew red weird bio Akira style shit, like morphing out of arms and legs and stuff like that.
Resident Evil feeling, like all that
very
kind of
Resident
weird
Evil
shit.
feeling. Dude, her entrance, the bazooka elevator, is fucking bonkers.
I feel like I've seen that scene because I was like, as soon as she pulled that bazooka, I was like, oh, she's gonna use that to shoot herself up. But I know that's where we're going with this movie.
Shot herself up like 28 stories to the roof of this fucking building in one fell swoop, and then just like eloquently glided down and landed.
Which I didn't know you could do that. I'm gonna try.
Yes, with your bazooka.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I live in Florida. I can get one.
Precisely. Yeah, no, I was like, yeah, that's definitely going to happen, but this is awesome. I'm on board. And then we get the fight scene up there, and it just like, I mean,
so
gore.
Gory. Like, every fight scene is so fucking gory.
Yeah. Like, there's so much. I don't know what part to bring up where of, you know.
Right. Well, at the beginning, we kind of like find out about the keys here because she picks up the sword and the chainsaw that she had cut off the guy and starts like presumably dicing up his face because we're seeing her make all these moves from behind his head, and then
it's
like
splits.
An ear and a nose and different body parts are falling off till she gets the key, and then
so every engineer has like a key shaped tumor, but they're in a random part of the body, and then if it gets pierced or severed, that actually kills them. But anything besides that, any damage, it just mutates their body even more. And it turns in and anything that gets wounded turns into a weapon. So it'll be like a giant blade or fucking. Honestly, okay. So when Ruka fights Keyman for the first time, like the head engineer dude, guys, eyeball guns. Didn't know was a thing. Totally a thing. She cleaves the top of his head off. He starts laughing. And then pulls the top of his head from like the nose bridge off like a goddamn fucking jack-o'-lantern. And then he gets a power brain and two, like a snail fucking gun thing shoots out, and then he has like snail bullets. It
shoots out something. They look kind of like arrowheads.
Yeah,
like
and just
bio arrowheads.
That one,
gunky,
out of all of the weird weapons, I mean, the bio craziness that you see in the brothel is just like a completely different other beast. Like the weaponry ones, like eyeball guns. I was just like okay. All right, that one gets my full attention.
Penis gun did it for me.
I was about to, I know we were both going to go there. That's
well,
I mean, when it first is revealed,
I think we should talk about the scene before that gets him to that point.
I have the whole chain of events.
There's like
okay. Oh my god! Yeah,
so to try to make sense of this, because
so we're going to the brothel.
Yes,
because that scene, I called it the sex club, and my note for that is just the sex club place was bizarre.
So weird.
Oh, I have slug girl, chairperson pissing flower.
Oh well, that's
dick rip.
Under my characters, the first character that I have that I like for this movie is Piss Chair.
Piss Chair. Yes. Okay. So just to give our listeners a visualization of what Piss Chair is. All right. So you get into the brothel, and then they have all these different women that have numbers that you can obviously procure time with them. The first one is like a snail girl who has like her eyeballs are in tubes out of her head. She has a snail shell and is like slimy and gooey and all different kinds of shit. And then there was the one girl with the teeth on her nipples,
whatever
boob teeth. And then I love the fact that the MC is the latex one that has the poodle hair, like it's this weird poodle
latex boobs and stuff.
Latex boobs and shit is like MC, and then they pull the curtain and it's just a flesh chair, as in like it's a fucking chair that just has like a torso and biomass around it, and then it pans down to what is its genitals, but it's just a flower that everyone's like,
Uh-huh.
oh.
And they're all looking
And it-
at and admiring this thing. It has like a little
Admiring
like
this
IV going into it to keep it alive, presumably. Then
As it pee-pees over the entire crowd of people, like mouth open, just that pee scene.
They're super into it. Everybody who gets it, it's like being at a Guar show. Everybody who gets peed on is like, yeah!
exactly like a Guar show.
Yeah, exactly.
They just filmed a Gore show.
Yeah, I was like, what are we going to get at? I'm like, is someone going to fuck that chair? And then it just presumed
Close
to pee
second,
all
dude.
over everyone. And I'm like,
The
bravo,
Squirt show is
bravo.
just like-
I see why people are at this show.
It's my favorite
Not where I
characters.
want to go, but I'm
Not
happy
even
for everyone
close.
that they have found that.
Bring a change of clothes to that place. Okay, the only nod, this is like so off topic, but Ruka's watering hole that she goes to, I got a chuckle out of because it's called Independent Bar.
Independent, but it's spelled wrong.
Yes, but it almost has the
Bar.
same type face,
Mhm.
like logo that iBar in Orlando had for the longest time. So I thought it was like, ha ha ha. All right, that's fine.
Nice. That's where we used to hang out.
Yeah,
D-
just hang out.
would pea chair technically be a water chair? Would that go into our water house?
Would it be? I mean, technically, that whole
Water
body's
couch?
full of blood, so that
no,
would be
Sam
water.
doesn't agree.
No,
Nah,
He
that's a
doesn't like
bio
it.
chair.
It's
that's
just
a bio chair.
chair.
Okay,
That goes
That
into the
chair's just
bio
for
house.
fucking.
That chair. Whoa, maybe other things holding
I
hands.
think it's
What
just
if
for
you
getting peed on. There's a different chair for fucking.
Oh.
You can fuck the flower chair. Or get fucked by the flower chair.
Oh.
Did you see its pistol?
Oh god! All right, so the head cop gets the mouth
Shit.
nipple lady, and proceeds to get his member bitten off. Oh, we get a dick rip in this. I mean, I guess it's like a
We
bite
do.
rip. We do
Oh,
get a
yeah.
full-fledged dick rip.
It counts as a dick rip for me.
Yeah.
Anytime a dick is severed, I'm just going to go dick rip.
Dick rip. Yeah,
Yes,
so we get a
definitely
dick
counts.
rip, and then who shows up? Yeah, you're right. It's Keyman again.
Uh-huh.
And God, the when he unlocks, because the key tumors are super weird. Like when Ruka gets it
Her forearm.
metaphysically has this keyhole that he puts it into, but then the second he puts the key in, it splits like John Carpenter's thing, just like bah, pops open, and it does this to this cop's head, where his whole head just fucking, not like Slither, where like they saved the spinal column. Like this thing literally just fillets completely
Splits in
open.
half,
Yeah,
yeah.
splits in half,
Mhm.
and he just kind of like goes bloop, and just like slit places the two, like the key back.
So now that guy's an engineer. When you
Yes.
get your tumor keys, you're an engineer. So he
Dick gun.
goes
Alligator
back to
girl.
the police station now,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think we've seen it yet, what's going on until, and I didn't even realize he was one of the cops, to be honest.
It took me a minute to get that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then shows up at the police station in his police uniform, and the elevator door opens, and we see the engineer version of him, and I think it probably pans down, and we see this giant bio penis gun thing
Huge.
where
It's
his dick was.
huge. Speaking
And
of
when
gore,
we see
It's
it,
about average.
we hear an elephant
it's
sound.
about average.
When it's revealed, there's an elephant sound that's
Oh.
like, "Brrr," like
Brilliant.
yeah,
Mhm.
unbelievable. So
The big reveal was pretty big.
yeah, so the big penis gun was my favorite engineer.
And then he presumes to go throughout the whole
Weapon.
fucking police station shooting people with his dick.
hmm
Just with his huge dick.
Hang on, the whole police station.
Living the
massacre.
dream.
Yeah, that
And
was.
then just getting like lit up and just like, oh my god. I have to, dude. We got to talk about the commercials in this movie.
Sure.
Okay, so I watched this
I have a
twice.
favorite.
I watched it with dubbed and I watched it with subtitles.
Okay.
I think
Same.
there's pros and cons to both, to be
Sure.
totally honest with you. What's weird is that I understood the commercials better in the dubbed version, except all the text that was going on while it was playing was better in subtitles, because you actually knew what there was like murderer being shot, or like this person's this age, or like this. So it kind of explains what's going on the screen.
The subtitle also subbed the text that was in the commercial.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got the Harry Carey, the don't do it, like the suicide at work.
Oh, Harakari.
Harakari.
I was like, there's a
Harry
Harry Carey parody.
Harry Carey?
What is he?
Harry
I
Carey?
was like, what could he possibly be referring to?
Samuku. He needs a second. But this, oh my god, guys, this
It's suicide. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Mhm.
Don't. And the guy with just the spots on his face, like, no.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's a cultural thing I don't get. Was that supposed to be like the ghost of him or
No,
some
that's
sort
his.
of like?
That's his inner child.
Is that what it's supposed to
I
be?
have no idea, to be totally honest with you. I just figured
it's got to be something
Right.
that I just didn't.
Yeah,
get.
yeah. I didn't connect on that one.
My favorite commercial, I do like the one where the police just execute that guy, and that one was way better dubbed than subbed than dubbed. I think I got the like tone of it better.
Yeah.
But my favorite one is the like Wiimote control execution one.
Oh
where,
my!
like,
The whole family.
you can chop someone up at home.
Remote
with a
control
samurai
exterminate. Yeah, we
Yes.
I called it.
sword.
The
I
Rico.
called it Wiimote execution.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
god!
was a
And then
good
like
one.
the mom joins in and just right in that dude's head, and just
Yeah.
blood splurting everywhere. And then, oh my god, the most depressing one was the kid box cutter, like like buy
Mhm.
these, they look great, they'll
They
be
don't
great for
hurt
you.
that much.
Yeah, you're like, oh fuck.
Well,
oh
so my
God.
assumption was that the fact that you would buy these and people regularly did this in the society
It's
to
like
make sure.
fashionable somehow.
Well, also to show that you're not an engineer, because presumably if you get a cut like that, it would turn into some weird, crazy weapon.
Mm.
And I presume that's why our main character was doing that in the beginning. Is like that's her whole thing. Is like, and she was
I
trying
didn't
to
even think about that.
being like, I'm not like, I don't know, letting out her anger and aggression and stuff in it, but also going back to the fact that nothing's happening because you're not an
She's
engineer.
not an
Yeah.
engineer.
I didn't get it.
Ooh, Bry Guy. That's like a whole different level of that movie for
So
me.
that's why I think that commercial is built around the fashionable thing, but also you cut yourself.
There's
it's not
that-
going to hurt. This is how you show you're not an engineer
So-
or whatever.
Sword
Oh,
commercial
yeah.
too for
Oh
cutting
my
or something,
God.
and he's
Where
putting it on
biting.
his tongue.
Yeah, he's biting it, and like it eating the front of it is just like so insane.
So all of those were then you had I believe it was, weren't they were playing soccer at some point with someone's head in one of the commercials.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the police
Yes.
forcing
Yeah.
some kids.
Yes.
That was definitely a
Oh
fun
my
one.
God.
In
What was
that
the-
commercial, they're like blurring out the gore in the commercial in the movie, but like the blur doesn't always follow
Yeah.
perfectly the gore as it's
Yes.
happening. I thought
Oh, is
that
that
was a funny touch.
Is that the crazy ass dude that shoots all the kids on the playground?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
My life sucks. I'm gonna save your life by killing you. It's like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm. And then gets his head chopped off, and then they play
Yeah.
soccer with it. Yeah, all the commercials interspersed within this whole movie were ridiculous and played on part with the tone. One of my favorite characters for sure was Radio Dispatch Lady. That was
Oh,
hugely
my
anime.
God.
And
So
she would.
much.
I liked her so much more again in the dub, because I felt like I got the tone of her character
Totally.
way more.
It was like the cowboy
Bebop, Bounty
it's like
Hunter stuff,
the
yeah.
bounty hunter commercials that you would see, where it's like it's just so artificial and like fucking weird. Guys, I didn't realize too until I guess I completely spaced it. The entire paper animated slideshow of like the backstory between Keyman and
Oh,
Ruka
yeah.
Mhm.
was so fucking weird. I also love
With
the
the,
fact that they
uh,
couldn't even do a fucking minute. They couldn't have a minute of an animation without photoshopping in a head actually exploding in the puppet thing. Was so funny to me. It's like they couldn't even animate gore. They actually had to just explode a head really tiny.
Well, I love putting the dad, Keyman's dad, who was the sniper for the police, who we only ever see in the mask with the eyes.
Mhm.
I during that telling the story, they have him like hanging off a mountain and hanging off the Tokyo Tower, and like then later we see him just like at home and he's in his underwear but still wearing that mask. I thought that was very funny, and the fact that was, we already knew that was who killed Ruka's dad, but then he immediately gets shot and his head explodes afterwards, like in this new retelling of it.
Yes.
And then we find out while that blood's spraying that
He's
Keyman was standing
behind him.
directly behind Ruka. He like pops out
Yeah.
from behind her.
that fucking
That was also
scene.
silly.
Oh my god! I every time I see his mortified face, just like peeking out behind hers, I laugh every fucking time I see that because it's just like, what?
It's very, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other notes that I have, I only have one other character that I listed as someone I really liked is Blade Gimp, which then turns into Gun
my
Gimp at the
God.
end.
Gun Gimp, Blade Gimp.
Regular Gimp to Blade Gimp to Gun Gimp is the best Pokemon transformation I know of.
Absolutely. Well, I guess this is like the really proof of the pudding when you privatize your police force is that like if this is the forensics guy, like holy shit. Like this is like you go from like it's hilarious how they have like these high-tech computers like when they cut off Keyman's top of his head and they're just scanning the front of his face with facial recognition has like all these things and then you go to like that dude's place and it's an ancient dungeon laboratory where he's just hacking people up. I guess
and apparently saving their hands to shoot at people from like a giant revolver.
Oh my god, fucking gun hand.
Oh my god. Gun fingers.
Gun.
Pew, pew, pew,
yeah.
pew, pew.
Yeah. Shoots the 3 middle fingers that then like spin around on the web from Ruka's gator arm thing.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that is. And they're all very deliberately just slowly. You see each one go
like
slowly turn around on
then
it and then shoot back off the other way. That was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any real quick 'cause there's nothing really to mention. Scares in this one are
really
minimal
no
if non-existent.
Yeah.
I have no scares.
I do have to bring up before we kind of venture off the fuck. All right, so the police chief has a pet, and the pet is a gimp, and the gimp has no limbs.
Right, and gimps around on the floor like a
gimps
dog.
Around until it gets
full
blade
leather guard,
arms
latex,
and legs. Holy shit. Like I just the fact that we probably brought it up, but like what?
Yeah, it was Brian's favorite Pokemon transformation. We totally brought it up.
You did? Was it the Gimp?
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the
going
hunchback.
from no arms to blade arms to gun arms.
Oh god damn it! I thought you were talking about the Quasimodo, the one that's part of the forensic.
Oh no, not that guy. That's not a Gimp.
Fuck that guy.
I said Gimp like a lot.
I did.
10 times,
I know.
probably.
Oh my god, that's terrible. The whole time, this is what happens when you're dealing with hunchbacks and Gimps. These Gimps happen.
I thought it was funny or just strange that the police station was just like an abandoned office building.
Yes.
I don't know how that was a police station. So every time they went in, it was just like decrepit and nothing was in there except for humans. Except one time there was a chair because it had my favorite line, which I only got watching the dub version. I think it's the guy who gets his penis ripped off who goes, "At times like this, I wish I had some speed." And then he sees the heroin needles and draws like needle on his arm, a syringe on his arm, and does he get high from drawing the syringe?
I don't know what that's about.
I did not quite understand.
He says I really could use some speed in the not dubbed.
Right, but it didn't hit for me.
I think he's just being silly. But there's really no context between
just having a goof.
Silly.
Just having a goof by myself.
Having a laugh.
Just doing a doodle on me.
So one of the scenes that I also really liked, I think the best things there's so much kills and gore, but I wrote a few things down. When the groper, so there's a whole subway scene with a groper on there that gets taken off and gets his hands cut off. That
with the oh my god,
spraying
so much blood,
and she walks away with the umbrella.
Yeah. That was ridiculous, and that was one of those again anime scenes of like I've seen that blood spray like that in like some of those crazy ass animes for sure, and I was like,
sure, you almost feel like you've seen somebody walk away with an umbrella while blood.
Like I've seen this, like I've seen this scene in an anime, and I'm still here for it. I love to watch it happen. Eyeball guns and then the dick bite off are two of my big things. We didn't mention in that scene where we get the dick bite off guy, we have boob teeth girl getting shot in half,
and
turns into teeth leg thighs.
Weird gator bottom
alligator girl,
thing.
I think is what she's credited as.
And his arm gets bitten off by her.
Yes.
And
that
goes has a gun on the end of it, and she goes to bite. She like bites on that for some reason, and then his tendon is sticking out. That's just the right muscle for his trigger finger.
Oh my God.
He grabs it and pulls that, and that shoots her up from the
Yes.
inside and presumably blasts out the key or something.
Yeah.
Into her.
But holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
just that entire sequence.
And the chief who gets all his limbs cut off and then is jetting around from the blood spray of his legless body.
Yes.
Blood spurting police chief flying around is one of the funniest things. Like, he's able to control it like he has a fucking jetpack on, and oh my God, I'm on board with that stuff.
Dude.
I also have tit acid death. I don't even remember that, but I wrote it down.
Oh, she's it's the girl who is the prostitute who got her arm turned into a sword.
Yeah.
She all of a sudden has these like growths come out of her when she's fighting some like police lady. And they're like these weird bio volcano looking things, and all of a sudden she grabs two of them where her tits would be and squeezes them, and like acid shoots out and kills the cop lady.
Awesome. I like that enough to write it down, but don't necessarily remember it. And a sake bottle to the cop's face was really cool.
Oh my God, that one was amazing. Okay, the sake bottle gets broken.
Mm-hmm.
She punches it into his face, and like a hole puncher, pops it out, and then his whole face is missing.
Part of his
and then
face.
she blows on the part of the bottle, and it pops out, and then lands. And I think she steps on it.
Yeah.
Like squishes it just for good part.
Yeah.
There's two distinct scenes where someone's entire front of their face gets popped off, cut around, and then thrown on the ground. And I'm, oh my God, dude, the woman who gets torn in half by the 4 cars.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
She really got ripped. I was expecting her limbs to fly off, not her like to be torn in half on her shoulder.
Well, they
I don't know what
start
I was
with like
expecting. I was like,
the
where are they gonna
hinges
go?
on her like arm, like not her armpits, but like where her elbows are, like they're spurting blood. So yeah, I feel like they're like, I don't know, they almost tease you to the fact that like her limbs are going to come off, and then she literally splits right down the middle.
And Ruka comes right after that or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, she's
Cops
there
are
and
laughing,
watches it happen.
She presumably cuts off all their heads in a single swipe, because we sort of see like a shot of the sky with 4 heads that fly up into it.
Yes. Because, all the cops at this point have gone on this to kill
road.
Everyone, even if you're suspicious that they're an engineer, just start killing and everything, and they're all drunk
sort
and
of stop
crazy
and frisk for killing people.
Yes.
Just a bunch of, they just
drunk with
really
power.
all raw.
Literally drunk with power. Drunk with power and alcohol. Speed.
I don't mean to go back to this GIMP, but the beach.
Did you guys see him?
Did you see him? Did you know there's a GIMP?
Did you know there's a GIMP? The beach scene with the police chief is the most off-putting thing, as he's sucking on that cigar and then literally just going for a solid minute. Did not need to be in the movie whatsoever. Oh my God.
I was hoping that's when he was going to like turn the button on. That's on the GIMP's back. Yeah, no.
Yes. Like...
So that's definitely a great one. The last things that I have to talk about are realistically, we've mentioned it the whole time, are the craftsmanship of this is the special effects and the gore. It's all, I mean, some of it is absolutely ridiculous and you can tell it's ridiculous. Some of it's really, really well done and crazy and upsetting to some points.
Super. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And again, to the craftsmanship, the whole style of it too. So it's very in there.
Very, very stylized.
Yeah. Like borderline like cartoonish in the fact of its like gore and how it's presented and how congruent that is the entire movie.
Yeah, I mean, I like the gore. It was all good gore, pretty good gore.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't too sure about it on my first watch. The stylization, I wasn't sure that I liked it.
I was there for it. I was like,
something I've learned watching movies twice now as we're doing this show is that a second watch, once I know what a movie is, can either really help or hurt a movie.
Sure.
And in this case, I think it helps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Going in this blind would be completely, it's a weird experience. All right. I think that's a good, anything else you guys want to bring up about the movie?
No.
Cool. All right. Well, I think now is a perfect time for a break. And we're back. Thanks for those lovely words of encouragement, ? Now we have 6 again, part 2, Rev My Engineer. Guys, would we would we survive Tokyo Gore Police? Because I don't think I don't think most people survive Tokyo Gore Police.
I was going to say, I think most.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many get killed in the final massacre that the police are going through, but I don't think the whole population of Tokyo.
No.
Totally.
So I feel like I said sure. My answer was sure. I think we would survive as just like people in
It's
society.
certainly possible.
Yeah. I think we have probably one of the better chances.
Totally. We don't have any connection to police or criminals. We're probably not going to these weird sex clubs that have snail people.
I mean,
piss chairs.
Sure.
Piss chairs.
Wow.
Well,
Sure.
once we hear about the piss chair, we're going. But
We're going to have to go to
we're not
Wait, they
going.
got piss chairs?
Okay, it's a little added thing. Would you volunteer to be an engineer?
No.
In the way to survive? No.
No.
What do you mean as a way to survive? Oh, like if I'm dying?
Yeah.
Sure.
Depends on where I got wounded, because usually the things that grow
Well, it
back
just
are
opens something up, right?
Well,
Like
who knows what it does? It
the
might
key
turn
goes
you
in
into
her
fucking
arm.
alligator legs. Like it just
That's
depends
very
on.
true.
Ruka looks totally normal after she gets keyed.
Yeah, and then like
It's only
maybe
when
if
she
you
starts
can
getting
control it well enough, because Homeboy
Own
at the
it.
end looks normal again. The
That's
keymaster,
Mm-hmm.
he was able to push his gun back into his head or something. I
Gun
guess.
back into his head.
Bloop, bloop.
Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, so I think we're surviving. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hey, did anything pull you out of this movie while watching it?
Sure.
Just about everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. It's a tough one to be in. And actually, again, I feel like because of the type of movie it is, it would be better in like a group party setting where you're only kind of so in it anyway. You know what I mean?
Like, I feel like this movie gives off huge, like, observe me, but don't be a part of my ecosystem. In the fact of, like, it's just so over the top.
it's art.
It's yes, kind of like it verges on that where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not.
Yeah, I
I'm just
see
supposed
that.
to witness this. Like, I think I'm just that's the point of me watching this.
Witness me.
Witness me. Speaking of witnessing me, what kind of tone or vibe did this movie have besides sheer chaos?
I said anime. If that's a tone or vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely is.
And yeah, I thought manga because I like just I guess I've read more manga than I've read, but it's basically the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I even Googled during my first watch, like, what is Tokyo Gore Police based on?
Mm-hmm.
Which it's not based on anything other than that
Right.
guy's first movie.
Yeah.
But stylistically,
I wonder if anything came out of that IP, as in, like, I wonder if someone made a manga based off of Tokyo Gore Police because of
I
how
don't
much.
know.
I mean, that's very possible, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That I did not look up.
Is there anything about this movie that's unusual for the genre, shy of it being just a living cartoon?
What is the genre?
Exactly.
Is the genre horror? Because if then I would say yes, because it's
Yeah,
definitely atypical horror. You know what I mean?
100%.
If you look at IMDb, I think it listed as action, comedy, horror in
Mhm.
that
Okay.
order. And I mean,
Yeah,
but the style of it and the genre of it is still, again, I would almost calling it anime's too broad, but this action, comedy, horror, anime style is a very specific thing, and I think it fits within that genre. So that
Yeah.
Mhm.
nothing too far out of it.
totally.
Right.
I mean, nothing
It's
beats.
in a very specific genre. It's in a very specific subgenre, but in that subgenre, it's not covering any new territory.
There we go. There we go.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Thank you, Sam.
Did this movie have a message
Sure.
besides, like, don't interject
I think
all of the evils of
Definitely.
humankind into one person, or wake up a sleeping demon?
I mean, I wrote that corruption is definitely
privatization of the police force,
portrays
a
power
dystopian world.
corrupts.
Police force is corrupt, controlled by a powerful corporation, profits from the chaos and violence, and within that, yes,
Fetishizing violence
Mhm.
and institutionalizing violence.
Mhm.
technology and
the
science. If you
problems.
really want to look at it, exploring potential consequences of genetic
Humans'
engineering,
interruption into nature.
ethical
Totally.
implications of that. I mean, yeah, I think that's all in there for sure.
Yeah,
I think this movie had probably a lot to say, and I think though presenting it in the way it did may have gotten in the way of like
Getting those
anybody
points
ever really like
really heading home for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was the atmosphere of Tokyo Gore Police something that you guys were any familiar with? Have you guys had to deal with Cronenberg creatures?
Yeah, I said
or
not really.
That's
I've been to
privatized
Tokyo.
police forces? Oh, awesome.
well, that's one up on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most I
What
got
did
there.
you see? Was anything else similar?
No, I mean I saw the Gore Police, but there's no engineers running around or anything. So
Oh, interesting. They must
true.
have got them all.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean it felt. I mean now when I see images of Tokyo, I can relate to it obviously on a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
deeper level, and I loved it. It's always fun. It's not nostalgic, but fun to go back to that. I really want to go back to Japan again. I could spend
Sure.
a lot
I'd love
more
to go to
time over
Japan.
there. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
Yeah.
such an interesting, fun, neat place. Tokyo is a ginormous fucking machine. It's a huge ass city. Like, it's big. It's a sprawling, it's a huge city.
Is it one of the most populated cities in the world?
I believe so. And just everything, it just like it goes on, and there's all the little different districts. I mean, we only went to a few different ones. Shibuya. We didn't even check out Harajuku or like any of those other things that you hear about, or
Yeah.
Akihabara, which is the anime district, which I really wanted to go to. We just didn't have time because there's so much shit there.
Oh, wow.
We checked out like one of the Gundams, and like it feel like, I don't know, it feels very Japan, this movie. So that was a very fun feeling to it. But that's about all I've got. No real
Tokyo
crazy.
is the most populated city in the world.
There it is.
37 million.
Check
Delhi
out
at number
everyone.
2,
Everyone, I
32.
suggest to check out one of the most fun things I did over there is something called Robot Restaurant. Look at that show and see what that's
Ooh.
like. And that was something that I experienced in Tokyo.
Gosh, that's
You went on a
amazing.
show?
A
No,
robot show.
but it is a show.
Yeah.
We watched a show and we
Ah.
didn't eat any of the food. But it's called
Perfect.
Robot Restaurant. It's
I would love to go to a baseball game in Japan.
we wanted to. It didn't work out with when we were there versus who was going on and all that kind of stuff. But yes,
Mhm.
I would love to. I went into like a sports store and tried to find some.
For sure. I was just going to say
Okay.
for sure now that I've seen this, I'm going to go to see a piss chair somewhere.
Oh yeah. I didn't know
Yeah.
to look for a piss chair when
Piss
I was
chair.
there, but now
Of course.
obviously.
Next time.
That's a
You're going to go to a sports store and get like some baseball team's shirt or something.
that'll
Exactly.
be that. Sorry, Brian, that was a missed piss.
Yeah, it was a misp piss.
Piss.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
There, something along those lines. Thanks, Sam. Again,
Yep.
coming in and the cleanup. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. That's my rant on Tokyo.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'd love to go there.
So we've got 6
Shuttlefest 3.
returns. Oh, Shuttlefest 3 is actually going to be in Japan. Yeah, takes Japan.
Mhm.
6 returns. Are you the key master? Let's talk villain levels. Are we scale 1 to
All
10?
right.
What
This is
are
interesting.
we going to say? It's
is the villain?
The keymaster, right?
key, yeah, key man is
he-
the
Or is it the chief?
exactly.
oh.
Depend on what. Let's rate both of those as our main villains.
Okay. Keymaster, I would rank higher than the chief.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though the chief spring legs flying around thing is
Blood
like-
Rocket is great.
Wild.
Yeah.
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 I'm
I'm gonna go 7 or 8 on Keyman and like 4 on the chief.
I was gonna say 4.
Great.
Like
I agree with those. I mean,
yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's pretty much on par.
The character design of the Keyman is very cool. Once he's got his gun eye things, and the fact that he goes around and makes people engineers and his whole thing, it's cool. I'm into it.
Right. Does this deserve a sequel? Should there be a sequel?
It said that one was coming soon. That was how it ended.
it did not
Yeah.
happen.
Didn't happen though.
The only way, and I think I would have actually almost preferred to see it this way, and I think I would want to see it as a serialized anime. If anything, I could have
this would be
taken.
wild.
It would have been. I think taking this in 30-minute chunks
Mhm.
would have been a lot more digestible.
Yes, it's a lot of gore. I mean, like when
It's a
they
lot.
say
I
Tokyo
mean,
Gore
as
Police,
it should be.
as it should be, but it's a lot. It's a hefty amount. You know what I mean? Like I need like a
Well, it's almost like a bunch of scenes put together
Right.
for a thing. It would have been better to see these like vignettes of different.
Yeah, these 30-minute
like,
contained
places around
stories,
Tokyo,
like you could
yeah.
have of a different engineer for each episode with an overall arcing thing of getting to
You
the
could tell all
keymaster
different
stuff.
kinds of stories. You have the silent episode where nobody talks.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like,
A singing episode.
Yeah. Look, yeah, I think that would be a fun way to explore more of it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Would you guys buy the soundtrack or the score of this movie?
maybe. I liked that it.
Oh, that's right. I said,
I
yeah.
kind of like the rock and roll
Jazzy
like,
vibes.
Yeah.
It's almost like got that
almost
Cowboy
like this
Bebop
weird-
soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
That's why I said, sure.
Sure. Yeah. No, I would pick this up.
Yeah.
I feel like this would be at
Of course
Ross
you
would
would.
listen to it
Of
at least
course.
once.
At least once you give it a
and
go.
throw it into the pit.
If it's on a playlist somewhere.
Yeah, that's fine. That'd be good. I think I already know the answer to this. Is this action figure worthy?
Nah, nothing in it.
Not a
Nothing
thing.
that-
dog. This
I
whole
mean,
thing is
this
like
thing
it was
has
made
a
to sell
piss
toys
chair.
to adults.
Come on.
Come on, are you kidding me? Would you? I mean, honestly, I'm just.
Brian finally wants an interactive toy.
It's like a flashlight.
It's just
It's an actual. It's chair size.
It's
Chair
chair
size.
size, yeah.
chair life.
Yeah, no, I think
I've been filling this baby with piss for weeks. What?
you wanna come over and
Check this out.
Yeah, I
don't
think any
think
of
it
the
works.
engineers would be cool.
Yeah.
The GIMP. I'll take all stages of the GIMP. Ruka.
Well, you get a GIMP and you can pop in the different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah, every engineer.
Every single
For
one
sure.
of them. No, yeah. No, or honestly, every engineer, and then having like it. You know how like they have the ones that build the bigger one. Is that you could just have like a giant, like it makes like a third scale alligator girl. If you
Oh, like Marvel Legends used to do,
Yes.
where you'd like buy one toy and get a piece for a bigger
for a
one.
sentinel or something like that.
Yeah, I got one of those in a box around here somewhere.
Of course you do.
Is there any merch or prop that you'd want from this movie besides all of the props from this movie?
Ripped off dick.
Ripped off a dick gun.
Mm.
Are you kidding me? Just walk around with dick gun would be the most.
Well, I just
off-putting
want
thing that
now
possibly
I've
do.
determined I want my collection to just be ripped off dicks from all the movies we've covered.
Yes.
I want
That's my
the
ripped
piss
off
chair.
dick from the Outwaters. That's my ripped off dick from Tokyo Gore Police. That's my ripped off dick from Night of the Demon.
Head of the Demon, ripped off dick, and fresh.
That's my no wait. Okay, no, that is the one from Fresh. Hold on, let me.
I would get one of the panels from the storyboard background thing, where like the slideshow.
Mm.
One of
Oh,
those,
yeah.
I would have that hanging up in my house. Absolutely.
I did also say handgun.
Handgun.
Have that as a prop. The giant fucking.
Just try to like.
The dad's head post explosion, where it's just sort of like flaps. That's like the second one we see of it, I think. Just that, just the
that.
flappy head.
Love it.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I love
perfect.
it.
All right, guys. There's a midnight showing of this.
Mhm.
What are we throwing at the screen? What are we chanting? I got two. I have one.
Okay, I got
I only
one.
have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when Ruka cuts her arm, and then when she has the flashback of when her mother's doing the same thing on her birthday,
Mm-hmm.
just pelting band-aids at like every
that's
time
good.
one of those scenes, and just throwing band-aids at the screen.
So the first time I watched this movie, that's a good one. Sorry to jump right past that, but the first time I watched this, so we watched it on Tubi, and I watched. So you get commercial breaks that just come
Yeah.
in whenever they come in. So
Oh God.
it's as the mom's cutting herself, and the dad's like, "No, don't stop! Like, don't do this!" And she keeps doing it. I don't know what's wrong or something. And then it's like, "Can't touch this, Baron." It was like Applebee's hot wings or something.
Yeah, they chose the most ridiculous things.
Yeah, it was a very sudden, big juxtaposition that really that was the funniest thing, I think, maybe.
Yeah, that
amazing.
always gets me. I forget what we were watching, and Tubi did it to me, where it was like this like disgusting, gross, gooey scene, and then it's like, be sure to get Alfredo sauce next time you jump in Olive Garden. I'm like, oh. I'm like,
The
I will.
McRib's back.
I will, but all right. So mine is similar to my Guar idea Everything in the theater's covered in plastic. But when we get to the piss chair scene, it just shoots massive amounts of water over the whole audience.
It just ignites the sprinkler system. it just drenches
The hose
just
up
like-
front.
There's a DJ in the back who looks up and it says piss bath behind him. And
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's just like the blood rave from Blade, except piss.
that's exactly what I was getting at. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. You just feel that. You know what I never thought about in Blade? How like difficult the logistics must have been of filling those sprinklers with blood. But that's for when we do Blade.
Oh, we're gonna cover Blade.
Mine was actually it's kind of like that who was it, Siskel or Ebert's review for Friday 2. It was like, you can just apply this to anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure when, but at some point the whole audience yells gross.
Oh,
because I feel like you got a lot of opportunities for that.
Yeah, okay.
Or maybe that's just a running theme.
I like it.
I thought when the guy gets his face taken off from the sake bottle, people could just
Gross.
huck CD or DVDs of Face Off at the screen.
I like that one. I like
That's
how we
a
have
good
to bring
one.
a DVD
Yeah.
for another movie.
Make sure to get your DVD of Face Off. Check your local Goodwill.
And then we're all going out to watch Tokyo Gore Police.
Just hucking at the screen.
Beautiful.
Perfect. All right. Now it's time for us to pull out our bioweapons of destruction as we rate this film. On this
Sure.
show, we like to use a rating scale of 0 to 5 fingers. Each finger adds to the score, with more fingers equaling a higher score. And don't forget, you can chop off half a finger as well as no fingers. The Chuddlemen have a scale Sam created that we will follow.
The Chuddle scale.
The Chuddle scale.
Shuttle scale. What do you think is going to pop out of your hand when you cut your fingers off?
Uh-oh. Are you an engineer, though?
Oh, it would be just more microphones. It'll be a microphone, and then
That's
maybe
like the final question, Sam.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Unless I'm sure Ross already has something planned, so let's.
Sure,
That is
We
true.
might have another question. Whatever.
Sure, yeah.
We're at the ratings. We're at the ratings
Sure.
right now.
sure, I got that. All right, Bry Guy.
Oh, you want me first?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say engaging. I gave this a 1. I was pretty engaged throughout it, and I mean, I was pulled away at points for sure, just because of the amount of gore, but I was still easily into it again. I feel like it deserves
Yeah.
a full 1. I was in there and watching all of the
Watching
gory
it.
madness. And then sticky, I'm going to only give this one a 0.5. I think there was so much going on. It's like I'd probably have to watch this a few times for it to really stick with me.
Yeah.
But like
Sure.
there's a lot to comprehend with all the different gore. Like it doesn't always completely stick with me. I'm not remembering every bit because of how much there is, I
There's
guess.
so much.
Mhm.
So 0.5 on that. T-shirtable. I mean, this gets a full 1 for T-shirtable. There's just so many different characters and things and scenes and imagery that you could do with this one. So I think it deserves the full 1 in there, and definitely recommendable on that aspect for it. Cockles. I'm tricky with this one. I don't know. I gave it a 0.5
with the
here
cockles.
because I feel like it hit off in a lot of really good points, but then at some point, because of just that maybe something wasn't fully there for me, and I gave it a 0.5.
Okay.
Maybe that I feel like that needs to be revisited upon, revisitation.
Oh, you mean the revisitation?
But my initial feeling of this movie is a 0.5, and I watched this twice too, and I feel like that sticks for me.
Mm-hmm.
Rewatchable. I'm only going to give this one a 0.5 as well. Just I liked it plenty, and I deserve think it did. I would rewatch it again, but I think I got what I needed out of it, and I'm not itching to go
Sure.
back to it. I'm like, oh well, this is where that crazy scene's going to happen. I know.
Right.
So yeah, 0.5 for me for that. Gives it a 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah,
not a
3.5.
3.5. That's good.
That is good.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, what about you?
What about me? You want me to cut my fingers off too? You
Do it.
fucking sadistic psycho.
I need to know if you're an engineer. We've been over this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you. Engaging. That one is going to be a 0.5 for me, and it's kind of the same reason Brian did for Sticky, but for engaging,
Mhm.
where there's just so much going on all the time that like some of it I'm just kind of like zoning out for and not really fully engaged in, because
Yes.
it's kind of the same tone the whole movie.
Sure.
Like it just hits this point and you are going 100 the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no peaks and valleys.
Unrelenting.
Which makes it, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Mhm.
It's just hard to pay attention to that for 2 hours. Sticky, I think I'm going 1 here, because what I did engage with, I think, is pretty memorable. A lot of these engineers and things like that are, I think, going to be with me, and I'm trying to be charitable, so I'm giving it a full 1. T-shirtable, definitely a full 1. I like it, and again, we've talked about it plenty. The character designs in this movie are awesome.
Mhm.
There's a lot of fun stuff going on. I wouldn't want something like too crazy, you know what I mean? I'm not the guy that
I'm not
wears
that
a
guy.
big cock t-shirt or something, but it's something, there's cool imagery. I would wear something. Cockles.
I have to return that big cock t-shirt I got for you then.
Sorry, dude.
You do. Fuck.
You want the one that says small cock? Sorry.
Please. Cockles. I'm also having a tough time with cockles. I think I'm going 0.5
Mm-hmm.
because I honestly, the first time I didn't really like it, and on my rewatch I liked it a lot more, and I like it a lot more after our conversation as well. And I think part of that goes to just being by myself. I don't know.
Yeah,
0.5 is the answer. And then rewatchables also gonna get a 0.5 because the only way I really see myself watching this again is with people. Because I think that would be a very fun way to watch this movie.
Yeah.
But I doubt I'm going to be like, all right, well, it's Tuesday afternoon. I have time to watch a movie.
What do I watch?
Fucking watch Tokyo Gore Police. Like, I don't see that happening. But if I'm like hanging out with some friends and, you know, we're going to watch a movie.
Mhm.
Hey, have you guys seen this? It's one of those, have you guys seen this movies?
Right.
And then you watch this together.
Let's throw it on.
things.
Do it.
So that puts me at 3.5 as well.
Beautiful.
All right, so for engaging, I gave this a 0.5 for engaging. I think it's because I have Tokyo Gore Police syndrome in the fact that there's so much gore going on. I almost get static vision on it, where it's like
Totally.
it does get difficult. I think it's weirder with more people. I'd be more focused.
Yeah, I agree. That's like I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd pick up maybe on things, or it works better with other people around.
Sure.
Yes, 100%. And like
because that helps you break up that constant like tone of where
Yes.
you're at.
It is, because it's like at full throttle. I mean, it's full throttle the entire time. Which why it honestly it gets a 1 for sticky for me, because it is just, there's so many memorable and just weird fucking characters, scenes, and stuff in this movie. Which leads right into a 1 for t-shirtable, because there's so much stuff that can be made into a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Cockles got a 1. This, I mean, between just, I got a soft spot for body horror, and especially like this amount of body horror. Like,
Sure.
I love me some Cronenberg. So like, this was like, oh, this is just so fucking weird. Although my rewatchable is 0.5, because I think once you kind of watch this maybe once or twice, I mean, for us, we watched it twice pretty soon, back to back.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to probably watch this for a minute, you know what I mean? Unless, again, it's a group sitting where we're going to be like, oh, hey, let's all sit down and like, have you seen Tokyo Gore Police? Like, I feel like that would be the scenario. Past that, it's like, I got it. It's good. It's really good. I'd probably jump to like Machine Girl or like something in that wheelhouse of weird.
Right, if you're looking to explore that type of genre, that genre still.
Yeah, I would tap all of my resources before a rewatch on this one for sure.
Makes sense. And that puts you at a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right.
So, as we finish up tonight's episode, we are going to close out with our final 2 questions. First, does Tokyo Gore Police belong in the Chuddle Club crypt? Sam?
No, it does not. Good score, 3.67, so I'd round that to 3.7, I guess.
Yeah, it almost did it, because it needs an average score of 4 fingers.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I consider
solid,
that solid. Anything 3.5 and above
I think it's a good movie.
Good score.
Like, it's a
Yeah.
really good
And
score. Anything, I mean, 2.5, I constantly have to, like,
2.5 to me is...
remember that a 2.5 is, like, an average movie, middle of the road sort of thing. So, I mean, 3.5 is great. Anything above that, sure.
Absolutely.
And to finish us off, I wanted to ask a would you rather. Out of all of the engineers you see in the movie, which is the one that you'd like to have the powers the most? And which one would you want to have the least?
Are we all going dick guy or what?
Oh, I was going to say piss chair.
Ooh,
For
watch
both
out!
answers.
It's dick.
So is that
It's dick gun and piss chair. Right
Yeah, we're
again.
a duo.
So I didn't even think about this. Are the people in the brothel engineers that have just been cut up?
Yeah,
No, it's weird.
Or I don't understand how the piss chair would be a weapon.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know.
They're probably like super heavily
Definitely
modded. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
know how to make it.
Yeah.
Realistically, who would I want? I don't know. Flying around with my cut off limbs and using my blood as propellant is pretty
I'll
fun.
accept that.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Down with that, like a chainsaw.
I want the elephant dick gun guy. For sure.
Yeah.
Because it also made him kind of bulletproof, it seemed like. They were shooting him and it was just kind of like ching, ching, ping, ping.
I guess.
Man, I would.
Which one would you want the least then?
Probably want to be the piss chair.
Right, yeah.
Piss chair. Or like, honestly,
alligator legs would be pretty shitty, I think.
Alligator legs.
Yeah,
and honestly,
agreed.
the gimp, even with blade legs, like that would be so fucking hard to maneuver around on blade legs and arms.
I mean,
although
the gimp seemed pretty good at it.
It went up walls.
Yeah, it was very... Its maneuverability was on point.
That's true.
Especially when you turn it on.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? The one I wouldn't want would be the escort. The schoolgirl one that her bio arm was like just a box cutter, like a giant fucking box cutter.
Yeah.
And then she also had like giant acid boob. Like I wouldn't want to have pustules on me that could pop at any moment that could just melt everywhere.
Sure. Makes sense.
That's a bad one. Dope.
All right.
Tokyo Gore Police.
Tokyo Gore
Police. Yeah, so that does it.
We got.
Yep, that does it for our Chuddle Movie Club meeting for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and may your thirst for the schlocky and serious world of horror never be satiated. Don't forget about all the places to get at us, and until next time.
Oh!